Back with President Trump
Great job.
fighting
Great job. Thank you very
anti-Semitism
much.
tonight.
Co-chairs Avi Almozlino and Tal Schuster.
At the Israeli-American Council.
We have the honor of having a very powerful man with us right now. He's the Speaker of the House, and he's really doing a good job. Mike Johnson. Mike? Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Now, one of the very top people in Congress. She's like a rocket ship. She's going up so fast. She totally destroyed the president of Harvard. You saw with the big glasses, those big glasses.
Every time I can't change it.
She asked her a simple question, and that was the end. She didn't get a very good answer. Actually, sounded a little bit like Kamala. But a really special person doing a phenomenal job in Congress, Elise Stefanik.
Love her. She's great.
That's a pretty good hand. They jumped up. What was that all about, Elise? That's pretty impressive. Ambassador Michael Herzog. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A friend of mine, a great lawyer.
Hey, Laura.
And his beautiful wife is with him, Alan Dershowitz. Very, very nice.
Lots of top names there, huh?
And many other very
Dershowitz,
distinguished
wow.
guests. I have so many that I can't call because we don't have enough time. We're on television. We're all over the place, and I'm supposed to be calling out names that nobody ever heard of, so we won't do that. But please know that we love you all, including congressmen and senators that are here. We have a lot of them. Thank you. Thank you very much. Before we begin, I just want to mention some polls that just came out. They just came out. Remember
How's the
in old
volume,
days, I used
Laura?
to call the polls because the fake news would never do it. I said, if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. Highly respected Rasmussen poll, one of the most respected polls. According to the Rasmussen, just out a little while ago, we're leading by 8 points, 52 to 44. 8 points. It's good. And they were that's national, and they were very
Thanks.
accurate the last time. So a lot of respect for Rasmussen. And they also have us up 11 with independents. That's pretty good. The Emerson poll came out, another good one, highly respected. We're up in Arizona, we're up in Wisconsin, we're up in Pennsylvania, 3 states they did. Oh, I don't believe this, I don't believe it. Even the New York Times has us way up in the Midwest. Can you believe that? Oh, that was painful for them to say. We're 9 up in the Midwest, that's very good. And the Atlanta Journal-Constitution has us 3 up in Georgia, that's good, that's good. And CNN, can you believe this, has us? They did Arizona, 5 up in Arizona. So we're doing well. Daily Express, we're 5 up nationally, in the battleground states. So 47 days from now, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris. We're going to take back our country. And we're going to, quite simply, make America great again, right? We're gathered tonight to talk about the sacred bond between the United States and Israel, and it's a bond that's in serious trouble. There's never been anything like it. I believe that we are closer to World War III than at any time in the history of this country since the Second World War. There's never been anything like this period of time that we're going through. And we have leaders that are grossly incompetent. They have no idea what's happening. In less than 3 weeks, we will mark the 1-year anniversary of the deadliest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. On October 7th, Hamas terrorists slaughtered more than 1,200 Israelis, including men, women, children, and even little beautiful babies. They tortured, wounded, kidnapped, and horribly maimed thousands more. What a horrible time. Unthinkable. Could not have happened if I was president. Would not have happened. You know that. Iran had no money. There was no money for terror. 28 terror organizations, including Hezbollah and Hamas, they had no money. There were lots of stories about it. We had no terrorism during the Trump administration. Remember that? Tonight we honor the memory of all who lost their lives in the October 7th attacks, and we pray to God that Israel will redeem their deaths with ultimate victory over those who wish to destroy it. And we're honored, thank you very much, and we're honored to be joined this evening by several of the victims of the October 7th attack, that horrible, horrible day. Former Hamas hostage Andrei Kozlov, who was recused. Yeah. Andrei was rescued by the IDF after 8 months of very horrible captivity. I can imagine. Where's Andrei? Is Andrei here someplace? Yes? Yes. Come on up here, Andrei. He's got more courage than I have. Come on up here. Guy. I just said, do you want to say something?
Hey, Holly.
And she wasn't exactly sure. Say something, Andrew.
I'm a little bit shy. I'm close to Trump, like I'm shy. What can I say? Thank you so much for this careness, and I really appreciate endlessly. Really, thank you.
He's a good-looking guy. Also with us is Dadi Simchi, the father of Guy Simchi, who was murdered on October 7th. And I will tell you, that was just a horrible thing, and I've said hello. Could you please stand up? What a great gentleman to suffer like he suffered. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. I appreciate it very much. Would you like to come up? We'd love to honor you. Would you like to come up? Come on up. Come on, in honor of your boy. In honor of your boy.
Thank you very much. I very, very appreciated what you are doing for Israel, what you did, and what you will done. I hope for. Thank you.
Great man. What they've had to endure. Also with us are the parents of several of the current hostages, and hopefully we're going to be getting them back very, very soon. Very, very soon. Thank you all for being here. Thank you very, very much. What you're going through is very hard to even understand how it could have happened in the first place. I'd like to ask you just to stand for a second, please, in honor of what we're all here for, because we're going to get them out. They're going to come out. Thank you all very much. That's a great group of people, and that's a lot of people, too. We're going to get them out. We're going to get them out. Thank you.
Bring them home. Bring them home.
Thank you very much for being with us, and we pray for you, and somehow it's going to work out. We're going to get it to work out. And this evening we repeat the vow that we have kept in our hearts since the terrible day in October: never again. Never again. This should never have ever happened. This should never have happened. Should never have happened. Weak leadership in the United States allowed this to happen, and it should never have happened. It would never have happened. It's so sad to see. 1 year after the horrific massacre, we are instead threatened with a different future, one in which October 7th happens again and again. We have to recognize it again and again. I'm here tonight to deliver an urgent warning to Jewish Americans and to every friend of Israel all around the world. And you have so many Christian friends. They love Israel. So important. I have so many Christian friends, and you know, when I first started running, I will tell you a story. Maybe I shouldn't, but I will. I was campaigning in 2015 in Iowa in a very Christian area, and there were about 6,000 people, and it was in a church, and they were very religious Christians. And the father, the minister, and a few others were there, and they said, "Sir, would you please say something great about Israel?" I said, "Say it again. Say it again." Because I didn't realize, you know, in the old days, it wasn't like this. He said, "If I say something good about Israel, that's not a positive for this particular group, is it?" "No, sir. If you say something good about Israel, they'll love you." I said, my, things have changed. How things have changed, right, Miriam? So I was a little bit circumspect, to put it mildly. And I went out there, and that place went wild because they liked me right from the beginning. I don't know why. A lot of people have bad taste, I guess. But they liked me right from the beginning. And I said, we love Israel, we will save Israel, and we will fight with Israel. And the place went wild. I said, what the hell is going on? They love Israel. I hate to say it. Sometimes they love Israel much more than Jewish people in New York love Israel. Alan Dershowitz knows that.
Facts. He's telling the truth.
They really,
and I'm a Jew.
They really do. It's an amazing thing, and that's when it really started, and it was incredible. But you have Christians, and evangelical Christians, they love Israel so much, and it's great to see that. It's great to see it. If we continue down our current path with 4 more years of Kamala, and I don't say Harris because when I say Harris, nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about. I just said it to another group. You know, Miriam has me working hard here. I have this group, that group, but this is the big one, right, Miriam? This is the big one. But don't worry, I said that to the last group also. Now she's got me working hard. But it's sort of interesting when you look at what we're doing and how important a mission we're on. If we continue down our current path with 4 more years of Kamala, Israel will be faced not just with an attack, but with total annihilation. And I hate to say it so much. It's total annihilation. That's what you're talking about. You don't have a protector. You have a big protector in me. You don't have a protector on the other side. And I've said long and loud, anybody, and especially over the last few years, anybody who's Jewish and loves being Jewish and loves Israel is a fool if they vote for a Democrat. But beyond that, if they love Israel, anybody that votes for a Democrat or Kamala especially, because this is the worst ever. This is the worst you've ever had. This one makes Barack Hussein Obama look like he loved Israel by comparison. But you should have your head examined, because it will face an unceasing bloody war to obliterate the Jewish state and drive Jews out of the Holy Land. That's what they want to do. They want to drive Jews out of the Holy Land. And they are not forgiving people. You found that out on October 7th. By the way, when Trump was president, you had no problems, did you? None. You had no problems. You ever think of that? I wanted to tell Israel that numerous times during the presidency, but I didn't want to do that and then have something bad happen. But nothing bad was going to happen. They didn't have the money to prosecute the war. Nothing was going to happen. We had everything in check, beautifully in check. And by the way, Russia would have never attacked Ukraine either, just so you know. We wouldn't have had inflation. We wouldn't have had that horrible situation in Afghanistan, where we lost 13 great soldiers, where $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment that I bought, beautiful stuff. I bought and they gave it away. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And we wouldn't have that. We left American hostages behind. Remember that. All of that wouldn't have happened. Think of it. October 7th would have not happened. That wouldn't have happened. And we wouldn't have had inflation. It was started by a stupid oil policy and a spending policy. We would have never had inflation, which has destroyed many families. Let me spell out bluntly the danger of 4 more years of weakness in this White House. If Kamala is reelected, Iran will quickly obtain nuclear weapons. They're already about ready to do it, okay? And you know, they were so broke, and I'm not looking to hurt anybody, but they were broke. I had sanctions. Anybody that did any business with Iran could not do business with the United States. I told President Xi of China, if you do business with Iran, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from Iran, you're not doing any more business with the United States, and I'm going to put on tariffs of 200%. And China didn't buy anything. And other countries likewise, other countries. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Iran was ready to do something. They were ready to make a deal. They weren't spending the money because they didn't have the money to spend. And you didn't have a single strike. You had nothing happen during this period of time. It was a beautiful time. Not a single strike. Thank you very much. Thank you. So Iran will right now quickly obtain nuclear weapons capable of killing millions and millions of people. Jewish people, non-Jewish people. There's no discrimination with nuclear weapons, you know that. And the power is unbelievable. And I know because I renovated, fixed, and bought brand new nuclear weapons. We have the greatest nuclear stockpile now. But I hated to do it because the devastation is nothing. This will be Third World War if it happens, and we're relying on stupid people. If it happens, this will not be 2 army tanks going back and forth and shooting. This will be, again, obliteration. This could be world obliteration. And we have to get back to common sense, and we have to get back to good leaders that are respected by the other side. Our leaders are not respected by Russia. They're not respected by China. They're not respected by Kim Jong-un of North Korea. They're not respected, frankly, by anybody. From behind this nuclear shield, the regime will be free to unleash its militant terror brigades to turn the Jewish homeland into hell on earth. They've already started with October 7th. Rockets will rain down from above until the Iron Dome has been exhausted. You know, the Iron Dome's great, but when you send too many, there's not a thing it can do. It's exhausted. It becomes exhausted. They call it that. They want to exhaust, and they send up anything. They send up, they call it garbage into the air. Let them keep sending their missiles up, and eventually they don't have any missiles to protect, and that's when it begins. We can't do that. Terrorist death squads will conduct constant raids into Israeli territory from all sides, going door to door and torturing, raping, kidnapping, and massacring innocent civilians. This is what it is, and you know that better than anybody because you've just seen it. A year ago, Tel Aviv and Jerusalem will become unlivable war zones as suicide attacks grind life to a halt. So, as president, I would look at a map of the Middle East, and I'd see a massive, massive piece of land, and I'd see a little dot, just like this stage, and that right at the top. This would be Israel. And
It's
I said
tie a yellow
to
ribbon.
Miriam,
It
I
means
said to
bring them
Sheldon,
home.
I said to friends of mine,
Yellow
How
always
could such
denotes
a
bring them
big
home. I'm just
piece
guessing,
of
but that's what I
land,
think it means,
how could this be
is yellow
possible?
tie.
Where you have that little piece of land surrounded by massive numbers of people and soldiers, big armies. Iran has a big army. Big mistake when another administration took out Iraq. You know, you had two for centuries. They would fight each other under different names, under religion, but they were the same strength. And they'd fight and fight and fight, and then they'd relax, and then they'd fight and fight and fight. This went on for centuries. And then somebody who wasn't a very smart person eliminated one of the sides, and the other one was left with nobody to fight. And now the other one basically has Iraq as a subsidiary. And Iraq is very rich, and so is Iran very rich. When I was there, Iran had no money. Now Iran has $350 billion, all made in 3.5 years. They took off the sanctions. But Iraq is like a subsidiary of Iran. Don't let anyone ever tell you. And Iraq has over $300 billion. So this is a very rich two nations, and they are essentially one. And they're getting closer and closer all the time. This is a nightmare that should have never happened. Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, you see the Houthis all over? They've long dreamed of making all of this come true, and if Kamala Harris wins the election, her weakness and incompetence, she's grossly incompetent. Look, she can't do an interview, okay? And let me tell you, I won that debate by a lot. By a lot. You know, I walked off the stage, I said, man, did I beat her, even though I was against 3 people. I kept saying, I said, what are you doing here? And you know, the things I said were right. Like I said, we have massive increases in crime. And David Muir said, that's not true. These statistics show that crime is going down. Anybody in their right mind, take a look at what's happening from the border. That we have crime that's worse. I said, you're wrong on that. Crime is going down. Now let's go to the next one. I said, what the hell was that all about? I only have one regret, that I wanted to be elegant and I didn't want to attack the anchors, which would have been very easy to do. So I didn't attack them, but I should have attacked them because it was 3-on-1. It's like a basketball game, 3-on-1. It's very hard. But we did well. And you know what? Since the debate, we're getting great kudos because they're analyzing the debate. They say, you know, Trump was right. I was right on everything. She made up all these stories, a bloodbath story. She made up all of these stories. It's disgraceful. And that's the problem we have. We have a fake media. And so we have to fight harder, and we have to be stronger, and we have to be much smarter.
Could also be that the gold tie is for gold.
And by the way, Israel and Jewish people are attacked by the media that I can't even believe. The New York Times is controlled by a Jewish family. I don't think there's anybody worse to Israel than the New York Times is. I read articles about Israel that I know are false. The New York Times and plenty of others. So my message today is very simple. If you want Israel to survive, you need Donald J. Trump as the 47th president of the United States. It's a very simple message. Very, very simple. Right?
Trump, 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 Trump.
Thank you, everybody. Under my leadership, America will once again stand shoulder to shoulder with our friend and ally, the State of Israel. Right now, all they do is fight the State of Israel. Don't do this, don't do that. I will support the same people that gave us Afghanistan are telling you what to do, by the way, which every one of those generals should have been fired. You know, I knocked out ISIS in 4 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. I did it in 4 weeks. I had great generals. We have the greatest army in the world. But not the people that are on television. These are people that don't know what the hell they're doing. They should have all been fired. I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror, and it has to win it fast. Will you please win it fast? Win it, but you have to win it fast if you can. And I was always, thank you very much. I will always defend Israel's fundamental right to exist as a Jewish nation in the Jewish homeland. That's what it's about, isn't it? But remember this, you're under attack like never before. There's never been a time like this that people can remember. This was a period, they say, if you read it, and I find it very interesting, but this was just before the Holocaust. I think there's a very great similarity because nobody can believe what's been happening. If Kamala Harris wins instead of the most pro-Israel president ever, which I have been already declared to be, you will have the most anti-Israel president by far, far worse than Barack Hussein Obama. Over the past 12 months, Kamala Harris has repeatedly demanded an immediate ceasefire to save Hamas. She wants to save Hamas. Meanwhile, she and Biden deployed U.S. military to build a $230 million pier to resupply Hamas. The pier didn't work out too well. Every time there was a little rough weather, the thing got ripped apart. Those of you in the real estate business know what I'm going to say. Those contractors made a hell of a lot of money. 230 million every time there's a little rain. It blew apart. Wonderful job. This was not General Patton's bridge. General Patton knew how to build them. He built them fast and cheap. Kamala Harris has even suggested that she would consider imposing a full arms embargo against Israel, and what she wants to do. One thing about politicians, like she wants to defund the police, she wants to do all these things, no fracking, you know, now she wants fracking, no fracking. For 20 years, there will be no fracking. And then she's a chameleon. He said, that's true. She just yesterday reaffirmed her support for blocking major arms shipments, as you know, to Israel. She blocked them. If these are positions Kamala Harris takes before the election, just wait to see what she would do after the election. You won't have a country left. Israel will be doomed. I really mean that. Israel will be doomed. And, you know, I said to Miriam today, I said, you know, they have to go through a little tough love here today because we have to tell the facts. Israel will not exist within 2 years if she becomes president. And what a difference a president makes. Big difference. Just 4 years ago, when I left office, the United States and Israel were safer, closer, and stronger than they have ever been before, by far. Under my leadership, we totally obliterated the ISIS caliphate. We terminated its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi. I withdrew from the horrendous Iran nuclear deal and imposed the toughest ever sanctions on the Iranian regime. They had no money. They wanted to make a deal. The saddest part, they had no money. They wanted to make a deal. And these guys came in and they never made a deal. You could have made any deal, but now they're rich again because he took all the sanctions off and everybody started buying, in particular China. China went from buying nothing under Trump to buying billions and billions of dollars of oil a month. I withdrew from the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council, which was a big thing. I sanctioned the anti-American and anti-Israel radicals of the International Criminal Court. Many of you know what that meant. That was a big deal. I defunded the Palestinian Authority and choked off all of the money to Hamas. Don't forget, nobody ever did that. I said, how much are we paying them? Almost $1 billion, sir. I say, they treat us so disrespectfully. They say death to America, and we're giving them money. Why are we giving them money when they say death to America? So I said, how much money do we give them? Almost $1 billion. I said, tell them they're in default. You're not supposed to treat us that way when we give you money. Tell them that they won't be getting money anymore until such time as we make a deal. And I will tell you, we had them very, very close, and then we had an election that really hurt it, and too bad. But we did do the Abraham Accords and other things, but I would have even preferred to do this. We would have had something done. Just as I promised, I recognized Israel's eternal capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Jerusalem became the capital. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You know, Miriam and Sheldon
Didn't you see him, Laura?
would come into the White House, probably almost more than anybody outside of people that work there. And they were always after, and as soon as I'd give them something, always for Israel. As soon as I'd give them something, they'd want something else. I'd say, give me a couple of weeks, will you please?
Hey, darling.
But I gave them the Golan Heights, and they never even asked for it. You know, for 72 years, they've been trying to do the Golan Heights, right? And even Sheldon didn't have the nerve. But I said, you know what? I said to David Friedman, give me a quick lesson, like 5 minutes or less on the Golan Heights. And he did. And I said, let's do it. We got it done in about 15 minutes, right? 72 years. You know, for 72 years, it's true. Planes would fly in, fly out, in the old days, there weren't such nice planes, but they'd fly in every year. They'd have a meeting on the Golan Heights. They'd have lunch, they'd have dinner, they'd have this, they'd have that. They'd leave, nothing would happen, right? And then one day, Trump came along, and it was done very quickly. 4 years ago, last Sunday, we signed the historic Abraham Accords. It's a big deal. And secured peace in the Middle East. That was peace in the Middle East, really. 4 very strong countries, and we would have had all of the countries signed. I'll even make, we would have had, in my opinion, I know this sounds ridiculous, I believe Iran even would have signed because of all of the benefits and all of the trade and all of the other things. I believe that, but we won't get a chance to see that because the 4 countries are still 4 countries. Within 6 months, we would have had just about all of the countries done. Biden and Kamala have done no countries into the Abraham. It's still there with the 4, but nothing's been added to it. It's a shame. But from the moment Kamala got to the White House, she and Crooked Joe took over, historic successes, and turned them into unprecedented failure and peril. You know that. Harris restored funding to the Palestinian organizations immediately, giving them billions and billions of dollars. And much of that money went directly to Hamas. Then Kamala and Joe Biden delivered over $100 billion in sanctions relief, all stuff that I held back. And I would have been very good. They would have been very happy. I wanted one thing from Iran, no nuclear weapon. I didn't want much, no nuclear weapon. And now they're very close to getting it, and you can't let that happen. They're very close to getting it. Here at home, Kamala's partnered, and she's partnered with anybody she can. You hear the things coming out of the administration. You hear what they're saying. But she pandered to the Hamas supporters and the anti-Semites in her own party. The things she says, it's not even believable. She said that radical anti-Israel demonstrators on college campuses were, quote, showing what human emotion should be. Oh, isn't that nice? I'm telling you, Israel has no chance. Jewish people that love Israel have no chance. As border czar, which she denies she ever was, but she was the border czar. But even if she wasn't, she was in charge of the border. So what difference does it make? She let in thousands and thousands of terrorists at our southern border. 21 million people, of which thousands of terrorists are poured in. When I was there, I let in almost none. They had a chart. That was a very well-known chart. I liked it very much. It's probably my favorite chart of all time. Remember that? I looked to the right. Let me see that chart. I looked. It's my favorite chart of all time, but it showed the great numbers that we had. But one of the numbers that was released recently was that in 2019, one of my years, I don't believe this number, by the way. It was done by Homeland Security. I appreciate it, but I don't believe it. I had no terrorists coming into the United States. They had 0. Now we have thousands, so I don't believe the 0, but the number was very low, 10, 12, 5. How can it be 0? But they actually have 0. Then I had 0 terrorists. So we used to check it, but we had very little. Now we have thousands and thousands of terrorists pouring into our country. It's so sad, and only bad can happen. Only bad things are going to happen. She imported migrants from terrorist hotspots all over the world, and now we have armies of jihadist sympathizers brazenly marching through the streets of our cities. I've never seen anything like it. Where did they come from? How did they get here? Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces that want to destroy Western civilization. The other day, in fact, it was yesterday, the FBI reported that Iran has spied on my campaign I'm going to have to hire Alan Dershowitz. Only Alan Dershowitz could do. Iran has spied on my campaign. Think of this, and given the information to Kamala. What's that all about? That alone should get me elected. Think of it. Iran got the information from my campaign and gave it immediately to Kamala and the campaign apparatus over on the other side. I'm the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend the United States of America. When I return to the White House, we will quickly restore stability in the Middle East, and we will return the world to peace. And remember the phrase, peace through strength. You know, I had no wars for 4 years. I remember crooked Hillary Clinton. Remember, she was up debating me, and she said, look at him. Look at his rhetoric. He's going to cause wars. I said, no, my rhetoric's going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. We had no war for 4 years, other than I finished off ISIS. No war. First time in 78 years, by the way, just to brag a little bit, because nobody else is going to say it if I don't. Israel will have the support it needs and the powerful ally that it deserves in the United States. Here at home, I will ban refugee resettlement from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip. We will restore the travel ban, some people call it the Trump travel ban, and keep the radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. That was upheld by the Supreme Court, and it really did work. Again, we had no terrorist attacks into the United States. Think of it. Now I'm talking United States, if that's okay. We had no terrorist attacks for 4 years. Nothing. Nothing. They knew, don't play games with us. And we will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers and Hamas supporters from our midst. We will get them out. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, we will throw you out of our country so rapidly your head will spin.
Darla, are you going to his rally on Monday? Trump, 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 Trump.
We're going to get them back. We're going to get those beautiful kids in some cases, because they're always your children. You know, they'll say, oh, he said children. No, they're always your children.
His hair looks good.
And some older people also, by the way, but we're going to get them back. We got to get them back. We can't let this happen again. So incredible that you're to make the trip, so many people. It makes me realize how important this is, Miriam, frankly, for so many people to make the trip. And there's nothing more important than what you're going through. And there's nothing more important than the people that you love. And it will be so beautiful to see it work out well. We got to make it work out well. Got to make it. And to confront the crisis of anti-Semitism at our universities, I will tell college presidents that they must end the anti-Semitic propaganda, or they will lose their accreditation and they will lose all federal support.
And well, they should.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
USA.
Thank you.
USA. USA. USA.
Thank you very much. This is the most important election in the history of the United States, and it's also the most important election in the history of Israel. Can you imagine that? A non-Israeli election is the single most important election that Israel will ever have. Isn't that something? With all I have done for Israel, I received only 24% of the vote. But I understood that. That was in 2016. And, you know, it's one of those things. I thought I'd do much better. I happen to have a Jewish daughter. I have a Jewish son-in-law. I have 3 Jewish grandchildren. I thought I'd do much better. But I only got 24%. Think of that. And then I became president of the United States and was the best president ever for Israel and for the Jewish people by far. Nobody was close. I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the Abraham Accords. I recognized the capital of Israel and opened the embassy in Jerusalem. And most importantly of all, I terminated the Iran nuclear deal, which was the worst deal ever made in the history of Israel, in the history of the Middle East. I was there 4 years, gave them billions and billions of dollars. I was the best friend Israel ever had. And still in 2020, now I've done all these things, so now Jewish people have no excuse. I got 29%. I went from 25 to 29%. Think of that. Honestly, you didn't treat yourselves well. You didn't. It was a terrible thing. And what made me even more upset about it is the current polling has just been announced. Now, I just announced the polls and I'm now polling at about 40%. That means 60% of Jewish people are going to vote for Kamala or a Democrat. And honestly, you ought to have your heads examined. You ought to have your heads examined.
Horrible.
And those votes may be necessary for us to win. I say us to win because we're in this together.
Yeah, we are.
But who are these people? Who are the 60% that would vote? And I really believe that bad things, very bad things are going to happen. And I'll put it to you very simply and as gently as I can. I wasn't treated properly by the voters who happen to be Jewish. I don't know, do they know what the hell is happening? If I don't win this election, and the Jewish people would really have a lot to do with that if that happens, because at 40%, that means 60% of the people are voting for the enemy. Israel, in my opinion, will cease to exist within 2 years. And I believe I'm 100% right. You know, there's a hat that comes out, Trump was right about everything, and I believe I'm right. And that's a hell of a thing to say, but I believe I'm right. If I do win, Israel will be safe and secured. We will stop the toxic poison of anti-Semitism from spreading here. All over America, it's spreading. It's spreading like it's never spread before. I've never seen anything like it. I really believe it would be obliteration, and it'll happen quickly, too. It's very close to happening. With your vote, we will reject anti-Semitism in our schools, reject it in our foreign policy. We will reject it in our immigration system. But all of that starts with rejecting Kamala Harris at the ballot box this election. Number one, she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She doesn't know. She can't do an interview. How do you think she'll do against President Xi? She can't do an interview. And I'm not even saying she's stupid for not doing that, but her handlers know what they're doing. Can't have it. We went through 4 years of that. We can't go through another 4 years of that. Together we will save the United States of America, and we will save the state of Israel on November 5th, 2024. It will be the most important day in the history of Israel. It'll be the most important day in the history of the United States. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. God bless Israel. Thank you.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her till today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
Watching live coverage.
God bless the USA.
American Council saying, quote, we have to get back to common sense.
All right, what a great song, right, guys? Well, I gotta put my hat on before I can come on. Here. All right, so that was awesome, as always. Every time I see President Trump, I cry because I'm so grateful to the Lord that he spared his life so many times now. And I consider 2 times to be so many times. I mean, seriously, twice in 2 months is just ridiculous. Anyway, I just wanted to jump on and say God bless President Trump, and he is right about what's happening with anti-Semitism. And as a Jewish American, I am seeing it. I'm not feeling it personally because I really don't get out that much, but I do see it on the college campuses, and it's super concerning, and it is a topic of discussion even in my family of Jews, and it's really scary. So it's hard to believe that October 7th was almost a year ago. Oh my gosh. How does the time go by this fast? And how is it that their hostages are not released? So I don't know if there's a lot of hope because of that, but it's horrible. It's just absolutely horrible. Anyway, but how cool was it that they blew up all the hostages with pagers and cell phones? Did you guys hear about that? Oh my gosh. If you didn't hear about it, just quickly, it was pretty amazing. So the Israelis, the Mossad actually, had figured out this little scheme to make pagers because Hezbollah was worried about cell phones being used in attacks, or being used to tell where they are and stuff like that. So they thought they'd be safe if they got pagers. So Mossad paired with this company, the company was from Taiwan, so it was like super secret. They thought they were buying the pagers from this company in Taiwan, and actually what they were doing was they were putting explosives into the pagers that would be activated when they sent a certain kind of a message. So they sold them all of these pagers, like a lot. I don't know how many exactly. I think it was more than 1,000. But oh my gosh, wait, where's my gator? Here we go. Oh no, wait, all I have to do is this. Yeah, you know what that means. I'm having fun. I never thought of actually bringing a gator on the show, but now I do. And you guys named him Allie. I think Laura named him Allie. So anyway, maybe Allie's a girl. Let's say Allie's a girl because mama gators are way more fierce than papa gators, because they got to protect their babies. Anyway, I don't think they were revamped old pagers, Donna. I think they were new, but they changed out the batteries for some bad stuff. Anyway, oh, that was Darla named him Allie. Okay, anyway, named her. She's a girl gator. Anywho, all these terrorists, whatever, Hezbollah asswipes. Oh, sorry. Anyway, they all had these pagers, not knowing that they were all carrying around bombs. And then all of a sudden, a couple days ago, they got a message they thought was from their leader or whatever. Yeah, I think it was from a certain person. And then a certain tone emitted, and boom, chaka chaka, boom, chaka chaka, boom. So anyway, I'm not sad about blowing up terrorists. I'm not. It's the way it is. They're murderous. And I'm not murderous. And I'm actually sick of war, and I hate it so much. So all you trolls watching right now, if you like war, you do have to realize that Kamala is a warmonger. In fact, our government for the past 50 years have been warmongers, and they're all about war. They're all about fighting. They're all about killing. They're all about the industrial war complex, or the military industrial complex, which we were warned about time and time again. So anyway, that's what you get with the neocons and people who have been in government for any amount of time, except for President Trump, who was only in it for 4 years and learned all their dirty little secrets, and now they hate his guts. Yeah, guess why they hate his guts? Because he knows all their dirty little secrets. That's why they hate him. They want to get rid of him because he knows the truth, and he is singing like a birdie birdie. So, and he's doing even more than that. Anyway, he can bring us peace. And if you don't believe me, look at the 4 years of President Trump in office. So much peace. It was so peaceful that he even walked over the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, up in North Korea. That's got to be up, right? Because it's north. Anyway, he walked over there like nobody ever did that. Literally nobody. Anyway, I'm just saying, President Trump is a president of peace. So say whatever you want. I saw the trolls come on and they think, they're like blah, blah, blah and stuff like he's not saying anything. Well, they don't listen. I get really tired of people saying that they hate what Trump's saying, but they won't even listen. Because if they listened, then they would hear the truth. And everybody's talking about the cats and dogs. And guess what? Every single day, there is more proof that there are cats and dogs being abducted and skinned and eaten. So that is a fact, and it is coming out, and you might not want to believe me, but I think the most important thing is the fact that President Trump, through J.D. Vance, who found out about it because he is from Ohio, and there are actually many cities all over this country. I don't know how many, but I know it's like definitely more than 24. So anyway, there's cities all over this country that are getting a huge influx of foreign people. And I'm not going to call them illegal because it seems like our government is doing this on purpose. In fact, they have emptied at least 5% of the Haitian population to bring them here to America to disrupt our communities. That's the plan, disrupt our communities and voters. That's what they're doing. You don't bring in such a huge influx of foreigners who don't speak the language, don't have the same cultural habits. I mean, seriously, look it up. These people practice voodoo, and voodoo involves killing little animals. And that's what they do. I mean, if they're out there skinning squirrels, they need to stop, I don't care. Dogs, cats, squirrels, ducks, geese, birds. You don't do this in America. We do not kill our wildlife. If you want to kill wildlife, you get a permit, you get a gun, and you do it right. That's how you do it. And you do it to survive, or you do it to, to shoot things that you're going to eat or whatever. Anyway, yeah, I'm so tired of war. And there were 4 years that we had President Trump in office, and there was no war. No war. In fact, there was peace in the Middle East. It was magical. It was amazing. And that's why President Trump is so shocked at why the Jewish people do not back him the way that they should. So, and Danny, you think that you're hearing lies, but I don't know what you think is a lie, because he's not lying. He's telling the truth about everything. Even the cats and dogs thing is true. So you keep saying that he's lying, but there are no lies coming out of Trump. I mean, something you're going to call a lie today is going to be debunked tomorrow or next week or whatever, and then it'll be proven that it's true. He's not a liar. So why don't you look up the facts and be educated and see that what he's saying is true. I mean, one of the things they say that he's lying about is the immigration problem. If you don't think that there's an immigration problem, then you don't live in America. I don't know. Do you walk down the street? Do you not see all these people in your town that weren't there before? I mean, does it mean anything to you? I'm not going to bay at the moon. I'm just going to send Allie to do my dirty work. It's fun. Yeah. I don't know why these people have to come on my show and say such derogatory, nasty things, because I am a journalist, okay? A real journalist. I went to journalism school for 4 years, got a degree. Scripps Journalism School, actually one of the best journalism schools in the country back in 1983 was when I started, and graduated in 1987. Unlike Matt Lauer, who went to Ohio University just like I did, but he didn't graduate. He got posthumous graduation. When I graduated, Matt Lauer also graduated, but he wasn't even there. Yeah, I know they're stupid, Laura. I don't have any problem with it. It just makes me sad that there are these people that live in my country who literally want to destroy my country. Thank you, Dirty D's. I love my gray hair too. In fact, growing out my gray was one of the smartest things I've ever done. And super happy about it, because dyeing your hair, did you know, by the way, if you dye your hair, that at any moment, you could be dyeing your hair your whole flippin' life, and then at any moment, you have your hair, with the hair color on it, and it like you could have a bad reaction. And that's the reason why on every box of Clairol hair color, or any kind of hair color actually, well, the ones that, actually any hair color, they say that you need to test it on your skin before you use it every time. So even if it worked last time, you have to test it every time, because you could have a bad reaction. So anyway, I know I went off topic, but hi, Renee. Yeah, close the border, Edward, for sure. We do. We need to close the border. Our country needs to be safe, and we are not safe right now. So, I don't know what that means, Brian. Well, I was with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for 18 years, so you can always look up my stories on the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, but I haven't written for them in a long time. But anyway, if you put my name in a Google search, you'll come up with all sorts of stuff. And, by the way, I'm in the process of publishing my my second book. Hold on. This is my first book. So, Danny, if you want to read my journalism, this book, like it was yesterday, A Journalist's Files Since 9/11. I'll turn the camera around so you can see the cover, because I love you asking about it. There it is. So this is my first book. I published this book in 2015, and there actually is a lot of my journalism in this book. It is not on Amazon anymore because I hate Amazon. And so I've been selling it myself on my website, jillbooks.com. But right now I'm kind of in flux because of publishing my second book, which I am going to also, I am going to be selling it on Amazon.com, but I'll launch it on November 1st. So, but if you want a copy of Like It Was Yesterday, Danny, you can contact me. My website is info@jillbooks.com, and I will make sure you get a copy. I'm not sure what my website is doing lately. Anyway, my website's kind of a mess. I need to work on that sucker. It's a lot, but a bunch of people on here have read my books and they love them, so they're really, really good, if I do say so myself. But anyway, Yeah, I was with a national magazine called Human Resource Executive, but that was years ago too, so none of my stories exist there. But I have lots and lots and lots of journalism everywhere. I've written thousands and thousands of stories that have appeared all over the world. So if you do look up my name as Jill Cohen, then you will find, I don't know, all sorts of stuff. Actually, I should do a search and see what we come up with. That's always fun. Trying to type and not look at it, which I can do because I was taught to touch type in high school. So, wow. Well, oh no, that's on YouTube. And so you can look at my YouTube channel too. I have a lot of good stuff there. Here, we'll just search the web for myself. I am not super well known because I have always kind of been under the radar just as a magazine newspaper journalist. Where do I get my information? I get my information from everywhere, Danny, literally everywhere. Sometimes things come to me, I can't even believe where I get my information from. And usually from, I almost lost you guys. I usually get my information from the sources themselves, like the people. And it's pretty cool. Let's see, news. No, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'll turn it around so you can see what it looks like. So I also lived overseas for 10 years, so I have a lot of life experience all over the world. I don't know what just happened. Oh, that's my Facebook page. Anyway, this is really mostly about my book and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. My articles don't really come up that much anymore because it's been a while. But I do write a lot of stuff that I put on Facebook. Anyway. Okay, so, Danny, that's a really good question that you bring up about finding different sources. I'll tell you some of my favorites, okay? Who have I spoken to on the left that I respect? Oh, it's hard because people on the left, they hate me so much. They're so mean and rude that I gotta rack my brain on that one. It's hard to deal with people on the left. They immediately have a grudge against me, even though I am very open-minded. And I did live in Switzerland for 10 years, so I speak another language. My husband, who passed away almost exactly 2 years ago, he was a Cuban refugee, and he had escaped Cuba to come to America. So I know a lot about immigration. I've done it myself. I even immigrated to Switzerland because I was concerned that the food in America was tainted. But anyway, Danny, let me get back to I don't care about this left-wing stuff, Colin. It really doesn't matter to me. So Danny wants to know about alternative forms of information. So one guy that you have to listen to if you want a really good, comprehensive, and really amazing information is Tucker Carlson. He is fantastic, and he knows a lot. So yes, exactly, Danny. So divisive. You're so right about that. But I do suggest if you don't listen to Tucker Carlson, you make sure that you do. Another really great person to listen to, and I'm kind of surprised about this myself, but listen to interviews with J.D. Vance. He really knows his stuff, and he always comes up with really great rebuttals to things that the lefty loons say to him, which is often loony and not fair and not right. It was like, for instance, they're like, I don't know who it was. Oh, Laura Loomer, who I have met in person. I know a lot of these people in person too, so it's interesting because I live in Palm Beach, so I always hang around Mar-a-Lago. I don't go to Mar-a-Lago. I'm not an insider at all, but I'm an observer. I'm a journalist. So, I go to the Club 47 meetings. I listen to all of the, actually, I also broadcast all of the speeches that they give. John Bolton and Miles Taylor. Cool. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, I know who John Bolton is. I don't know who Miles Taylor is. I know the name, but it's like eluding me right now. Anyway, so Tucker Carlson is a great one to listen to. Another one that I really like is a guy. He does a show on Rumble called X22, and his name is Dave, and he always somehow makes me feel really good and tells and explains things in a way that, I don't know. He just he's helpful. Let's just say I like what Dave says on X22. I like the way he says it and how he explains things. He seems to have some insider knowledge. I'm not really sure, but here's another one that you really need to listen to is Dan Bongino. Okay, he's fantastic. And when it comes to presidents being assassinated, and by presidents I mean one president, that would be Trump. Anyway, exactly. I'm not interested in fiction at all, right, Donna? So anyway, the assassination attempts, that's right up Dan Bongino's lane. He knows everything. You definitely need to listen to him because he has facts, not fiction. I listen to every point of view, Danny. I'm just telling you wanted to know which ones I like the most, and I'm just giving you those opinions. I'm glad. I know you're not a troll. I can tell you're not a troll. If you were a troll, you would have met my friend Allie. That's what I do to trolls. But oh my goodness. Anyway, but I do think that people like Tucker Carlson Tucker Carlson has been on both sides of the aisle, so he's super well informed. Those are the kinds of people I like to listen to. I don't have time to deal with people who are blatantly lying. I mean, I do listen to them, and I listen to what Hillary Clinton has recently said too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she is literally calling for, they keep saying things like Trump's going to jail his opponents, and yet they're jailing their opponents. I mean, do you see the dichotomy here? They're like, Trump's going to cause a war. He doesn't cause it. He never did cause a war. He doesn't want to cause war, and yet they cause wars continuously. They're all about wars. So, I listen to what they say, and I don't agree with most of it because it's, quite frankly, they are all about divisiveness, and I don't like that, and I'm not into that. I want us to live in a peaceful country. And this thing with immigration is very, very serious. And Danny, you might want to watch my show I did I think it was either last night or the night before, but I did a live show after, I don't know if you guys can remember what it was. It was after something. It was rather short, but I came on and it was about immigration. It might have been Trump talking about immigration. But anyway, I came on and I read a bunch of stuff from FAIR, F-A-I-R, Federation of American... Anyway, FAIR handles immigration, and they're a really good source of information regarding why illegal immigration is so damaging. And at this point, we're not even constantly, hi Carol, we're not even constantly dealing with illegal immigration because the Haitians that are being brought into the country seem to be legal, like they're being brought in, like they're literally getting on the planes that are paid for by you and me and being shipped into the country in order to disrupt small town America. So that's what's going on. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, there's always name calling with these people. I don't understand it. It doesn't get you anywhere. It's kind of sometimes like arguing with 10-year-olds. Anyway, illegal immigration is so destructive, and sometimes, Renee, yes, it does feel that way right now, that there is an evil force, and saturating a community that's already on hard times. And like, let's just say, for instance, Springfield, Ohio was already on hard times. And they had lost a good percentage of their population. I believe they started at like 50,000 people, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. And since then, they dropped to maybe 30,000 people in the small town of Springfield, Ohio. And so just recently, in the past 2 years, but especially lately, and I researched this by, I look on the social media, X and stuff. There's a lot of people giving firsthand accounts. I look for news reports. I keep my ear to the, I'm looking everywhere, basically. Well, X is always a good place to find real-time news. You do have to wade through a bunch of blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times you'll find really good videos from regular, normal people telling the truth about something that you want to know about. So X is a great place to find those voices as well. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, in Springfield, so we have these people that all of a sudden they're being saturated with these immigrants who don't speak their language and don't have the same culture that they do. And it is causing chaos. And they also, in Haiti, they are French speaking, so Creole. So anyway, they drive on the other side of the road. So when they come here, they don't even know how to drive. Like, they'll literally go on the wrong side of the road because they don't know. And they're from a very poor country. So all the Haitians coming here, man, they're not the best Haitians in the world. They're not the best and brightest that Haiti has to offer, because why would they want them to leave? They have shipped out 5% of Haiti's population into the United States, and Springfield's not the only community that's dealing with that. They can't speak English. They don't eat the same things we do. They don't even understand grocery stores. Women are not able to go into grocery stores these days in Springfield without getting accosted, and it's pretty bad for them. Remix Brothers. Well, I've never heard of that, Dirty D's, but I'll look it up. But anyway, it's there are lots of ways to get information these days that have nothing to do with mainstream news, because if you watch mainstream news, you're just being lied to, just continuously. I'm not saying that they're evil. They're not evil. The Haitians are not evil. They just have a very different culture. And it's not fair to the Americans or the Haitians to dump them in a town where they don't know the rules and they don't know American customs and laws. And they're also still all together. It'd be one thing if it was just one Haitian who had to assimilate into a new community. And community members would most likely, as we are Americans, we would welcome that person in, and we would teach them what they needed to learn, and we would even be very kind about it and generous, because that's the way we are. However, when you live in a town and suddenly hordes of people are literally being dropped off by the Greyhound busloads, and I'm not joking about that. That's a real thing. Look it up. Anyway, they're being dropped off by the Greyhound busloads, and they're not just being dropped off to fend for themselves. No, they're getting lots of money. They're getting our money. They're getting more money than the poor people in Springfield who say George wants to rent the house down the street and it's $1,000 a month, right? Well, now the Haitians come into town and they've got lots of disposable cash. Suddenly, George isn't going to rent that $1,000 a month apartment because the price has just gone up to $4,000. And the Haitians can afford it. And they'll put like 20 people in one apartment and call it a day. And also, when the town manager, who magically got called by ABC News in the middle of the debate, even David Muir said he called the town manager, which is very obvious that he was all ready for that. He was planning for that question to come up, and he looked for ways to debunk it. So anyway, the town manager, by the way, even though I've heard him say that it's not true, but I believe it is true because he's been to Haiti and he's getting money. He's getting money from properties that he owns that he's renting to the Haitians. And a lot of these town officials, because why else would you say, sure, bring 20,000 people into my community just like that? Who would want that? What town manager would be good with that? You know, that's crazy. And when I was with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, by the way, I was actually a municipal news reporter, municipal school district. So I went to all of the town hall the municipal town halls. I was at every municipal meeting, at the agenda setting meetings and the regular meetings, and oftentimes I was the only person there in the audience. No kidding. Every month I went to all these meetings. It was my job, and I would be the only person there. The only time that there were other people at these meetings was when taxes were being discussed. And and once there was a big to-do about transgender bathrooms. But normally it was just me. So I don't care about all these other things that you guys keep bringing up on the left that, you know, you want to blah, blah, blah about. I want peace. I want to live in a community, in a country where I feel safe and where everybody is peaceful and we get along because we're fellow Americans, and that's what we do. That's what I want. I'm so tired of people on the left, and really it is you guys on the left. Y'all are nasty. Y'all are a cult death, or what is it? Cult of death. You know, you keep saying I'm in a cult. And, you know, if I'm in the I Love America, Make America Great Again cult, then I'm fine with that because it's a happy cult and we're really happy people. I know, right, Renee? Oh, boy. But I'm not going to call them stupid. I'm going to call them uninformed, or, you know, they're just living on a diet of mainstream media. A friend of mine today, she was like, I wish that you would talk to my friends who all they do is watch mainstream media and they don't get it. See you later, Danny. Thanks for stopping by. Anyway, my friend was like, you know, I've said that you should have a debate with them, you know, like sit down and talk to these people. They will not talk to you. Why? Because I bring receipts. Because I know my stuff. And they will not talk to me. So, okay. And so here comes Allie. I definitely don't want Mr. Jesus Isn't Real on my page. Allie's like snacking on that one. Good. Anyway. Yeah, exactly, Max. Good one. They don't want to hear reason because they're too scared to be scolded by the cult. Anyway, good talk with you guys. I got a bolt. I got stuff to do, but thank you for joining in, and it was a very interesting evening tonight. So, ciao for now. Yeah, no, we don't call them names, Max. We don't. I mean, sometimes it's hard. It's hard. No, I have an actual science degree from Ohio University. You know nothing about me, so, you know, whatever. Exactly. Call me a racist. Say I'm stupid. I'm not stupid. I'm the opposite of stupid. I've written 2 books. How many books have you written? Just saying. Anyway, I'm a go. I'm an author and a journalist, and I have no time for people who, you know. Anyway, ciao for now. Arrivederci. Almost stumped myself.